devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Hare Krishna. Give me the garland, I'll wear it. Hare Krishna. Good morning and welcome everyone to the morning class. Discussion on the Srimad Bhagavatam. We'll sing a quick offering of love for Sri Radha Madhav, Sri Radha Kalachandji. Also forgive me for being here. I'm not supposed to be here, but Drishtadimna Prabhu had some other engagements, I believe. I think there was some confusion. He's supposed to be on the altar. So under his guidance and instructions, I'm sitting here. So hopefully you'll help in the discussion today. Oh, are you sitting? Oh, okay. So, okay. So maybe you can play the mridanga and Jaishnav, can you give me the karta? Oh, there it is. Oh, it's Govinda. Are you going to ask me all the tough questions? Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhare जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारे। यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जय श्री फोकस। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जय राधा माधव श्री राधे। जय राधा कलचंदी राधा कलचंदी श्री राधे। जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय। जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय प्रभुपाद। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतशिषामणि His divine loving grace अभय चरण अरविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की। श्रीमद् भागवतम की। Please repeat. Let's take a deep breath. Jaishna, Govind, deep breath. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Devaya. We are on 40, correct? Thank you, Prabhu. We're reading today from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 2, text 40 through 49, and the focus verse is 43. Please repeat. We don't do the Sanskrit. Okay. So we'll read the translations from 40 onwards.
In Hardwar, Ajamil took shelter at a Vishnu temple, where he executed the process of bhakti yoga. He controlled his senses and fully applied his mind in the service of the Lord.
Ajamil fully engaged in devotional service. Thus he detached his mind from the process of sense gratification and became fully absorbed in thinking of the form of the Lord.
When his intelligence and mind were fixed upon the form of the Lord, the Brahmin Ajamil once again saw before him 4 celestial persons. He could understand they were those he had seen previously, and thus he offered them his obeisances by bowing down before them.
Thank you, Raseshwari.
Text 43. Upon seeing the Vishnudutas, Ajamil gave up his material body at Hardwar on the bank of the Ganges. He regained his original spiritual body, which was a body appropriate for an associate of the Lord.
Accompanied by the order carriers of Lord Vishnu, Ajamil boarded an airplane made of gold. Passing through the airways, he went directly to the abode of Lord Vishnu, the husband of the goddess of fortune.
Ajamil was a Brahmana who, because of bad association, he gave up all Brahminical culture and religious principles. Becoming most fallen, he stole, drank, performed other abominable acts. He even kept a prostitute. Thus, he was destined to be carried away to hell by the order carriers of Yamaraj, but he was immediately rescued simply by the glimpse of the chanting of the holy name Narayan.
Therefore, one who desires freedom from the material bondage should adopt the process of chanting and glorifying the name, fame, form, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, at whose feet all the holy places stand. One cannot derive the proper benefit from other methods, such as pious atonement, speculative knowledge, and meditation and mystic yoga. Because even after following such methods, one takes to fruitive activities again, unable to control his mind, which is contaminated by the base qualities of nature, namely passion and ignorance.
Because this very confidential historical narration has the potency to vanquish all sinful reactions, one who hears or describes it with faith and devotion is no longer doomed to hellish life, regardless of his having a material body and regardless of how sinful he may have been. Indeed, the Yamadutas who carry out the orders of Yamaraj do not approach him even to see him. After giving up his body, he returns home, back to Godhead, where he is very respectfully received and worshipped.
While suffering at the time of death, Ajamil chanted the holy name of the Lord. And although the chanting was directed towards the sun, he nevertheless returned home back to Godhead. Therefore, if one faithfully and inoffensively chants the holy name of the Lord, where is the doubt that he will return back to Godhead?
Here we come back to text 43. We'll do one word at a time, or okay, what have? Well, yeah. So we'll do one sentence at a time. Hitva kalevaram tirthe Gangayam darshanadanu Sadhyaha svarupam jagre Bhagvat Parshvavartinam Hitva kalevaram tirthe Gangayam darshanadanu Sadhyaha svarupam jagre Bhagvat Parshvavartinam. Hitva kalevaram tirthe Gangayam darshanadanu Sadhya sarupam jagre Bhagvat Parshvavartinam Kalevaram tirthe Gangayam darshanadanu Sadhyaha sarupam jagre Bhagvat Parshvavartinam Hitva kalevaram tirthe Gangayam darshanadanu Sadhyam sarupam jagre Bhagvat Parshvavartinam. Word for word. Hitva. Giving up. They do it, I do it. Okay. Okay, let's do it together. Hitva, giving up. Kalevaram, the material body. Tirthe, in the holy place. Gangayam, on the banks of the Ganges. Darshanadanu, after seeing. Sadhyaha, immediately. Swarupam, his original spiritual form. Jagre, he assumed. Bhagvat Parshvavartina, which is fit for an associate of the Lord. Translation also together. Translation, everyone. Upon seeing the Vishnu Dutas, Ajamil gave up his material body at Hardwar on the bank of the Ganges. He regained his original spiritual body, which was a body appropriate for an associate of the Lord. purport by His divine loving grace. Abhay Charana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. The Lord says in in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yo Tyaktya Naiti. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode. O Arjuna, the result of perfection in Krishna consciousness is that after giving up one's material body, one is immediately transferred to the spiritual world in one's original spiritual body to become an associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Some devotees go to Vaikuntha Loka and others go to Goloka Vrindavan to become associates of Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalak Chakshush Unmilitanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Born in the darkness of ignorance, my spiritual master opened the taught light of transcendental knowledge. All right. This is wonderful. Ajama is going back to Godhead. Even after. So what happened? What was the transformation that happened in Ajamil that caused this transformation to happen, right? Basically, he's coming from being a woman hunter, basically a rogue, kicked out his parents, kicked out his wife, had all kinds of illicit relationships, was a thief. It's a very interesting concept, but essentially, what happened? What happened after that? So the previous two verses talk about that. What happened? Anyone? He spoke the name. He spoke the name of the Lord. Okay. But specifically, what happened in? I guess we go by verses, right? 40, 41, and 42. Anyone remember? We can go back and take a look. He controlled his senses and fully applied his mind in the service of the Lord. Right? It's not that, we chant the names of the Lord and immediately things happen, right? And the Bhagavad Gita, right at the very beginning, Krishna is going to baseline everything on one thing. He says there are three things, right? There are senses, the mind, the intelligence, before we start getting into the false ego stuff, right? But he's not going to start by saying that the first thing that you do is to control your mind and intelligence. The first thing that he's going to say is control the Tani sarvani samyamyam yukta asita matparaha yash vashehi yasya indriyani tasya pragya pratishtita. Yes. First, vashehi yasya indriyani, one who has his senses under control. Yes, that's his recommendation to Arjun. What does that mean for us? We have also accepted the process of chanting the holy names of the Lord. Yes? So what does that mean in terms of controlling senses? Are we required to? Are we not required to? Now that we are chanting, it's all good? What does it mean to control the senses? Let's go in that direction a little bit and then come back. Any thoughts on that? What does it mean to control the senses, Govinda? Nainanvita? Brinda? Are your senses? And what are the senses? We'll just get back to the basics. What senses do we have? Those are a little bit above the senses. Yes. Yeah, the sense of touch, the sense of So these are our 5 senses, primary 5 senses. And then there is the 6th sense, which is the mind. Yes, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Hriddeshya Arjuna Tishtati. Manashashrani Indriyani Prakriti Sthani Karshati. Yes, that Krishna says that everyone is, all these living entities are my parts and parcels. But under the control of the senses and the mind, one is karshati. One is suffering. Are we suffering because of our senses and mind, or are we enjoying because of our senses and the mind? What's happening here? Any thoughts? A little bit of enjoyment and a whole lot of suffering. Who would take that? What kind of a person would take that? See, the thing is, we really sometimes, and this is, I'm speaking for myself, we really take this idea of controlling our senses very, very lightly. Right? The Podavyam Putrakaya Inasat. Yes, Rishabdev was talking to his sons. He said that the beginning of human life is when one starts to control one's senses, or actually perform austerity. And of course, Srila Prabhupada in the purport mentions that the austerities for us is the 4 regulative principles, primarily. And then, of course, the chanting of the holy names, which starts as an austerity and then goes on to become something very, very sweet. Which mode is that in? Something that starts like poison and then becomes like nectar. Mode of goodness, yeah, Sattva Gun. Yes. And as Tulsi Sakhi Mataji was mentioning, passion, whole lot of enjoyment, a little bit of enjoyment, whole lot of suffering. Yes. Initially it starts off with a little bit of enjoyment. Yes. After fasting for Srila Prabhupada's feast, let me just have an entire huge plate of prasadam and then suffer. Yes. You just wait till you're 50. Yeah. Even with prasadam. This might be very controversial, but even with prasadam, we should honor prasadam. Honoring prasadam is at a very different level. So we'll come to that in just 1 second. But the whole idea of the senses to be controlled is something that we have in our hands. Yes, on a practically in Kartik, several devotees take these vows to control their senses. Yes, I will not eat sweets. I will not do this, that, and the other. Yes. I will not speak lies. But the control of the senses is not something that has to be taken very lightly. Because as you can see, yes, after Ajamil had a change of heart because of his, as Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, just by the glimpse of chanting the holy names of the Lord. Namabhas, not even Namabhas, even just at a very, very, without even understanding why he's doing that. The holy name had that effect where there was a transformation of the heart. So without that transformation of the heart, the entire process of bhakti is purely a waste of time. Dharma svanustita paksha vishvakshena kathasuyat na notpadya dadiratim shrama eva hi kevalam. Yes. That if by the process of bhakti, by the process of following these dharmic principles, of regulative principles, the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, the worship of the deities, if you're not able to have a transformation of the heart and develop a genuine loving connection to the holy names of the Lord. Notpadya dadi ratim. Yes, rati is a very high stage. Shrama eva hi kevalam. Purely a waste of time. We may go on chanting for millions and millions of lifetimes and we may not get any place. It's not that Krishna is going to give up on us. It's that we should have the right intent in the chanting if it has to have the right effect. What does that mean? Anyone? Any thoughts on that? What does that mean to have the right intent when chanting? Yes? To not have to gain anything material, okay? Just to please Krishna, very nice. Just to please Krishna, we chant the holy names of the Lord. Okay? Anything else? Be humble and sincere. The desire to be humble and sincere. Yes. It's not easy to have the desire to be humble and sincere. Yes. And those are seen, in the association of devotees. We can see that very, very nicely. Someone gives you the mic to lead a kirtan, and someone else comes and says, "Sorry, Mataji, I want to sing today. Sorry, Prabhuji, I want to sing today." You're in your mind completely convinced that, you are the one, you are the chosen one, somehow or the other to lead. And then someone takes that away. Are we humble and sincere to say, I did not come here to prove how well I sing. It's not that if I lead, that's when Krishna is going to be pleased. It's when we glorify Krishna, Krishna is going to be pleased. You don't have to be on the mic to do that. Who said that? Nowhere in the Bhagavatam it says, if you sing with me on the mic, I will give you all benedictions. If you do some things directly for me, if you do my arati, if you cook for me, I'll be pleased. It's not saying that. So yeah, being humble and sincere. Yes. Well, anything else? What does it mean to actually chant properly? What does it mean? Yes. Requesting the Lord to be engaged in His service and in the service of His devotees. Yes. What are the chances we are going to go and serve Krishna directly? Lord Chaitanya set the baseline, right? Gopi Bharadur Padakamale or Das, Anudas, insignificant. Are we ready to be insignificant? See, bhakti works on the platform of the false ego, and that's why it's so powerful. Yes. It is going to crush our false ego, that I am so great that I can perform devotion. Yes. What are our qualifications? Srila Prabhupada mentioned several times. You don't have any qualifications. I made your qualifications. And what did He make? Yes, He gave us the opportunity to serve the devotees and Krishna. Yes. And sometimes, and what happens in the path of bhakti is that we get distracted from this situation. Yes, that we did not come to bhakti to essentially prove to everyone how great we are. Right? It's a difficult situation, and hence focusing on senses is important. Why? Because as soon as you focus on the senses, we'll realize how fallen we are. As soon as we see a samosa, phew! Yes. As soon as we see something that we really like, see something that is really nice to see, yes. Shamkesha was saying one of his friends came to Krishna consciousness because all these beautiful girls. Yes. And over a period of time, the process purifies. Some come to Krishna just because there is nice prasadam to have. Some come to Krishna because the music is nice. Yes. Let's have some really nice music. Yes. The chanting is there, it's integrated as the baseline, it's the foundations. But really, Are we doing it for the foundations, for really, really attracting Krishna? Or are we doing it because we really like the prasadam and like the nice music? And sometimes we like the peace and the relief that it gives us. Yes. Sometimes we like it because, I'm here now. I can get nice prasadam. I can speak some nice philosophy. I don't have to take anxiety. I just go sit in one place and chant the holy names of the Lord. Not really, go through all that stress. Listen to nice music. Yes. But is that bhakti? What do you think? Is that bhakti? Yes, Krishna is going to try to, as Tamal Krishna Maharaj several times says, Krishna is going to try to pull you out of the comfort zone. We try to force ourselves into comfort zones. Yes, want to perform bhakti comfortably. Now, I'm not saying kill yourself either, right? But to really do a little bit more than what is expected. Just a little bit more than what is expected. And hence I come back to the senses. Yes. A little bit more than what is expected. Yes. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that by the controlling of the tongue is always chanting the holy names and to always have prasadam. And to never criticize devotees. Now that's the hard part. Yes. It's a very subtle thing. So Ajamil was able to do that. Yes, put himself in a very humble position, realized the situation that he was in, realized the mistakes that he had done, the mistakes that he continued to do. Yes, this realization is extremely important. What are we doing? Yes, sometimes, the Christians, we sin. We are sinners. Yes, we are sinners. That is absolutely correct. And the process is by accepting the grace of the Lord that comes through so many different ways. Through Lord Jesus, in our case through Lord Chaitanya, through Srila Prabhupada. To accept their guidance and to say that we have no qualifications whatsoever to serve the Lord at all. We don't have any qualifications to even chant the holy names of the Lord. None whatsoever. Yes. And if we do that, if we are just able to remain simple, engage ourselves as much as we can under the direction of devotees in the service of the Lord, not criticize anyone, and really focus on seeing how fallen we are in our situation. Yes. Completely accept that as a reality, how fallen we are in the situation that we are in. It's not easy. Yes. And when I say fallen, it means also that, it's just like water, right? Mercy flows like water. Water always goes to the lowest level. Mercy is like that too. Flows to the lowest level. Yes. Yes. But if we are thinking ourselves to be at the highest level, we might get a little bit, few drops of mercy. Really, mercy is going. The lower we feel ourselves, that's why practically the entire Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will see there's so many devotees that will constantly be sing the prayers of the Mosama Patita Prabhu Na Paye Beyar. Yes, there's no one more fallen than I am. And these are the acharyas that we sing and glorify. These are the devotees that we sing and glorify. Yes. It's really taking the mind and saying, as Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying, chappal se maro. Yes, hit them with a broom, and and then in the evening hit them with shoes. Yes. is really going out of our what we have left. We shouldn't take it to Krishna consciousness. What we have left, we shouldn't bring it here. Right? And yeah, that disturbs us, that shakes us up, that wakes us up. Jiva jago, Gaura Chandra. Kotha nidra jao maya, pisa chira kole. Yes, there is sleeping in the lap of Maya. Wake up, sleeping soul. Are we aware that we are sleeping in the lap of Maya? Yes. Now, the only way we essentially get out of it is we experience something higher, right? Immediately after the verse in the Bhagavad Gita, where Vashayam yasya indriyani tasya pragya pratishtita, Krishna is saying, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinam raso varjam rasopyasya param trishtva nivartate. Yes. That we actually let go of our lower tastes only if we experience a higher taste. Yes. And so when we are chanting the holy names of the Lord, we should be looking for an experience that is higher, and we should be appreciating those higher tastes. It's not a imposition, as Srila Prabhupada says in the introduction to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The chanting of the holy names is not an artificial imposition. It is something that is blooming from the core of the heart of the devotee. Yes. That experience is extremely sweet, but we get it only if we look for it. Yes. Have you seen Harry Potter? First one. Have you seen any? You guys must be like saints or something. Have you? What about? Do you remember the mirror of Erised? Yes, there is a mirror. Yes, remember? And then when you see in the mirror, it shows you your desires. Yes, it's Erised is the other way. If you pronounce if you pronounce Erised the other way around, what does it say? Govinda. Erised. If you turn that around, desire. It's called the mirror of Erised because it's actually reflecting your desire. Yes. It shows us basically what we really desire. And if you don't desire it, it's not going to show it to us. The same thing with the chanting of the holy names. If you're not desiring really the loving service of the Lord, the experience, the sweet experience of the loving service of the Lord, there is no higher taste that we will get, and we will struggle and we will struggle and we will struggle. Initially, the initial process of Krishna consciousness is very exuberant. It's really, really fun. Why? Because there's a lot of newness to it. Yes. And newness, this whole creative process is in the mode of passion. Yes. So we enter bhakti in the mode of passion. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, it's so nice. Devotees are nice to me. There's so much nice prasadams. There's so many nice things to do. I'm learning so many different things. And as soon as that newness goes away, what keeps us in bhakti is maybe a glimpse and an experience of Krishna that is far beyond everything else that we have seen. Yes. So look for that experience. And there is. It's like gems. Look for them. It's magical almost. Are we willing to look for the magic? Yes. That magic is in without any expectation serving the devotees. The magic is in forgiving. The magic is in respecting. The magic is in attentively chanting the holy names. It's really magical. Right? So give the holy names a little bit of attention. Yes. This is Krishna himself Just by, as this verses are saying, just by the glimpse of chanting the holy names. Immediately. Not didn't say, okay, after some time, a few million years now. Immediately. There was a transformation. Hare Krishna. But are we willing to be attentive to accept that transformation? Or are we more concerned about making sure we are first in line for prasadam? That one. Yes. Yes. And because if our expression of our bhakti becomes if the expression of our bhakti becomes also the expression of our lower natures, as Srila Prabhupada says, we have a lower nature and a higher nature, right? If the expression of our bhakti becomes the natures in the mode of ignorance and passion, then that experience is never going to satisfy the soul. Yes, and then we leave. We leave Krishna. We don't have that experience. We leave Krishna. Or we become peripheral devotees. Have you seen that? We stay on the fence. We don't want to get in there. We don't want to take the process of bhakti seriously. Because I don't have an experience which is higher than all the experiences that we have in the external world. Yes. We cannot depend on Krishna. We cannot depend on the process of bhakti to make us happy. Yes. And if we do, just get a glimpse of the beauty of Krishna. Just look for it. Look for it. Look for the sweetness. Look for the beauty. Yes. I'm not saying y'all, I'm talking about myself. Look for the beauty. Then just that glimpse, and then guaranteed at the end of our lives we'll go back. We will not care about criticisms. We will not care about people blaspheming us. We will not care about what people say. We'll just very humbly continue to perform our services without any expectations, because there is something very deep, very sweet that Krishna is providing from the heart. Yes, which will keep us going, which will just prevent us from stopping, just keeps you going. Right? That's the perfection of bhakti. That's a sweetness which will allow us, just at the end of this life, go back home, back to Godhead. Okay, any questions, comments, corrections? Wake up. Anything? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Oh, was there a question? Oh. You don't have to,
I have a question also.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. This was a really important topic. Humility, yeah. I mean, it's probably been asked so many times, but I think it's always good to just keep contemplating on it. How do we remain humble as we advance and we get more responsibilities and more appreciation? And I think it's good to just keep hearing about it. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
Humility is a very advanced stage of spiritual realization. It's an extremely advanced stage. Yes, humility is not something, it's a part of a process. So the acharyas give several explanations. I think the initial part is to just be grateful. Yes, just be grateful. even before being grateful, be a little bit courageous. Yes, abhayam. Yes, that don't fear, don't worry, be happy. That song, right? Have some conviction that actually Krishna is there, that there is someone called God, and that He cares about us. And that brings a little bit of innocence. And innocent, just like a child is innocently trusting and fearless in the arms of his or her mother. Yes. It's very difficult because we leave our innocence behind as we progress, as we become adults. Now I'm independent. We value independence. Yes. I'm not saying we're not independent. But what I'm saying is that our dependence is always there on those that care about us. And appreciate that. Be grateful for that. Yes. We see how Krishna is making so very beautiful arrangements to make us happy. Yes. To completely take care of us in all situations. Absolutely in all situations. Even through all the trials and the tribulations and all that kind of stuff. Krishna is personally present. In fact, when the acharyas explain that we should see those tribulations as Krishna's gifts. And when we see it like that, now that's a huge thing, right? That's not easy. That's definitely not easy. It might take years, for heaven's sake. It might take lifetimes before someone criticizes you and you're grateful for that person. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for criticizing me. I deserve it. I deserve worse. Yes. And if you're grateful in that situation, then Krishna awards humility. Yes. We kind of not become proud of Janmeshwara Shruti Shrivi Edamana Madapuman. Yes, that, whatever situation that we don't become proud of being devotees. We feel ourselves lower than even the worst possible person on the street. Yes. In fact, even other species, as Krishna Das Kaviraj just explained, worse than the worm in the stool of a hog. You like that? Vaishnava is happy. Yes. Why are they saying like that? Because they're not lying. That's where their consciousness is. But then they are grateful that they're able to do any service for the Lord. Yes. So while they're doing the highest of service, they feel themselves the lowest of people. And hence, what is the differential? The grace of the Lord. The grace of the devotees. So we're grateful in all situations. That is the beginning of humility. Yes. That is the beginning of humility. And we look for those opportunities where we are criticized and we say, thank you. The mind will be like, yes. And Krishna kicks us exactly where it hurts. If you think, oh, I do nice kirtan, and one day someone is going to tell me, man, that was terrible. One day is going to tell you, you don't do it. Yes. If you think that we are rich and famous, then Krishna is going to at some point of time tell you, your wealth is worthless. Or someone is going to neglect you completely. If you think you're a good administrator or a good cook or something like that, Krishna is going to kick you where it hurts. Look for those kicks and thank Krishna for it. Oh, because we get carried away. Yes. Edhamana madhapuman. We get, bewildered. Naiva hartam vidhatum vai tvam akinchana gochara. Yes. You are the property of the materially impoverished. Yes. That doesn't mean you lose all your wealth. It only means that you don't care about it. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
I was just appreciating this question and thinking along this point that I was remembering when His Holiness Haladhar Maharaj was here. He was really hammering the point home that our only qualification is that we are, to the degree that we are in the mood of assisting our spiritual master in his service or her service to Srila Prabhupada, that's our qualification. And that's all, the only qualification we have. So in that sense, it's almost like if we can stay in that mood, then where's the chance of being proud of it? I have no qualifications. There's nothing I can do on my own. It's actually just that I'm the mercy of my spiritual master, because to the degree that I'm trying to assist them in their service to their spiritual master, then I can do something. Otherwise, I have no qualification on my own.
Yeah, and that goes even deeper. Not just your spiritual master, but the servants of your spiritual master. And the servants of your spiritual master.
Yeah.
The servants of the servants of the servants of your spiritual master. And keep going like that. And it's not easy. Not easy. Because somehow or the other it's never going to be that, okay, I'm going to be second in line after the spiritual master. Third in line after the spiritual master. No. Absolutely insignificant servants. Yes, as the Father we go, as long as we are doing something to assist now, the spiritual master does desire that you serve him, absolutely. But if that's not required, be very, very happy to serve the servants of the servants. It's not all of these are simple things, but it's not easy. When it actually comes down to it, right, it's not easy. Yes.
My question was, some of these things we're speaking of are in some ways basic, but at the same time, like, very far away and hard to achieve. And one of my thoughts is, how do we really meet whoever is coming where they're at? I feel like Srila Prabhupada did that so well in the early days of Krishna consciousness. He showed us that example of how wherever somebody is, he just met them exactly where they were, and then they were able to, we hear the Shyam Sundar Prabhu was still smoking, and Srila Prabhupada said, okay, just 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, like today, if somebody was, smoking, we'd kick them out of the temple, right? But, I'm just wondering, as we progress as a society, many devotees are practicing for many, many years. And I think we kind of sometimes forget where we came from. And just how do we maintain this presence of meeting devotees where they're at, and also at the same time, maintaining our own practice and, kind of the duality maybe between those two things.
There's a couple of things here, right? The first thing is that, especially in situations where you are in, as leadership, in positions of leadership, let's just put it that way, there is a level of differentiation that needs to be there in terms of how we can engage people differently depending upon their propensities. Now, to meet people where they are requires that we actually understand first where we are, what our position is, where they are, right? When Vibhishan came to Ram, practically everyone told him that he's a Rakshasa. What are you doing? Yes. But Hanuman looked at his heart. Yes. And Hanuman was very, he's like, no, I have seen him. I've seen him chant, and he's a genuine person. Now, how did Hanuman figure that out? And Jamavant, who's been the Lord's servant for millennia, Sugriva, Angada, so many other very nice devotees of the Lord were not able to recognize Vibhishan. Yes, because over a period of, as one gets deeper in one's expression of bhakti, one is able to see the heart of the person very, very genuinely. Yes, and see whether that person has the sincere, as Tulsi Sakhi Mataji was saying, right, is really sincere in progressing in bhakti, or are they in bhakti just for the frill benefits? Yes, or somewhere in the middle, right? And so to meet people where they are requires us to understand where they are, and that requires maturity, a lot of maturity. It's the situation of the Madhyam Adhikari in one sense, that they differentiate between those that are innocent and those that are inimical to Krishna consciousness. And they are kind of disregard those that are inimical. Though they understand in principle that everyone is spirit soul, they will disregard. But those that are innocent, that are genuinely and sincerely wanting to take to Krishna consciousness, then with that maturity, we slowly understand what their situation, and then fan that spark properly. Yes. And it takes some time, and that's why we have our spiritual masters. We have the guidance of the Guru, we have advisors. Yes, we cannot basically, judge a book by its cover, for sure. Yes, but we are nowhere to judge anyone for that matter, right? So it's best to take the advice of those together. What do we think? How should we handle this person's situation? Yes, and over a period of doing that, we get the grace of Srila Prabhupada, we get the grace of Krishna, we get the grace of the Gurus, and we can somehow understand, okay, this is the right way of doing things. Yes. Another thing is that we have to let go of our false ego. We have to really put our false ego separately, our own self. We understand we have it. It's right there. It's, where we say, okay, I am going to manipulate this devotee because I need to get some things done. Yes. That's not really engaging a person where they are coming from. You'll have to let go of that a little bit. And sometimes some people are really good at certain things which may not be in line with what you are thinking, but that's fine. Yes. Or you can explain to that devotee, this is where I am, and I may not be the best person to engage you, but this is where your engagement, this is where your services will be most appreciated, and let that person then bloom in that situation and facilitate that the best we can. Oh, thank you, Narsingharupa. Hopefully I answered your question. Should we stop? What? Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki, Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Gaur Prema.